Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Looking for Warriors. In this video, I'm going to give you the most important resource, the number one most important resource you can have for building a business. More important than an MBA, more important than any business class you'll do in primary school or secondary school or in any college. And this will not be offered. This will not be offered in school. You will not have done this in school. Your kids will not be offered this in school or in college, even if they're doing business. Will not be offered this. And I'm going to bring you through it right now. So yesterday for me was a really, really exciting day. I got an email from David Jennings. David Jennings is a business guy in Australia. He ran a digital agency called Melbourne SEO Services and a number of other businesses. Now, I've kind of followed David Jennings because I ran a really important, like one of the most important digital agencies in Ireland for 15 years. And I've kind of followed David Jennings through the years. I've also bought a number of his products, Profit Hacks and a whole bunch of stuff. System Hub I use all the time. Now, from running a business, I know how important business systems are. And the issue with business systems is that they're a little bit boring. They're not the most exciting part of any business. So building procedures or systems is not that exciting. But it is so important. So ultimately important. And this is something you need to know and learn. So if your kids, I've got a son who's 16 and he has already set up a drop shipping business. He's already done a number of different things. He does video editing, he edits these videos for me, and he does a lot of things in business. Really interested, really good business mind. And I'm going to work on getting him interested in business systems. In fact, I'm going to see if I get him to listen to or read this book. Now, David, speaking of the book, David just brought out a book. It's called Systemology. And I was quite excited about it. Straight away, as soon as I heard it was out, he sent me a pre-release copy. So just to be clear, he did send me a pre-release copy. And because I was on his list. And he also, as soon as I heard the book was out, I went to Amazon to buy it. Now, Amazon.co.uk didn't have it in print yet. I guess it's literally just out today. So I couldn't get it on Amazon.co.uk, but I was able to download it on Audible and also get the Kindle version. So I did both of them. But I do like to have the actual print book. Now, for me, I have studied business systems for years and years and years. So I've read Built to Sell by John Werlow. I think I have that here, yeah. Built to Sell by John Werlow. I also download that on Audible. And I also, I think I have the Kindle version as well. But I like to have the physical book sometimes too. The same with E-Myth. I've read the E-Myth, the E-Myth Entrepreneur, the E-Myth Architect, even though I'm not in the architect area, but I just thought E-Myth Architect is kind of like a service area, which would be useful for the business I was running. E-Myth Architect, a whole bunch of different E-Myth books, and also Work the System by Sam Carpenter. So I've read them all. Now, they're all great books. They're all great books. Sam Carpenter and E-Myth as well. They're really very readable books. It's not like a boring systems book or procedures book. It's a very readable story book. Very interesting. But I walked away from them all after reading them with the feeling that they're just missing something for me to implement systems, for me to implement business systems when I needed to. I certainly did implement business systems, but not enough and not in the right structure. So I have really high hopes for David's book, because David has gone through this he's done it himself for years. He's done it in a number of businesses, and I have very high hopes for the book. Now, I've only read the first 3 chapters so far. So this is me doing a testimonial of the book. I've only read the first 3 chapters. And my first impression, really quick, my first impression of the book is David's a great guy. He's just a very likable guy. And there's something about the Australian accent. When you hear someone speaking to you in the Australian accent, someone could come to me David would come to me and knock on my door and tell me that one of my kids has been attacked by wolves, and And just from the accent, you would get the feeling, I think everything's going to be okay. Sometimes the Australian accent just makes you feel good. I don't know what it is. But he has that kind of accent, so it's great to listen to it. And I love just the little touches he put in. Like, for example, he talks about the founder of eMyth, Michael Gerber, who Michael's wife called David one day. And it's a great little story. I won't ruin the story. I'll let you listen to it on Audible or actually read it. But he puts in the actual call, which is, everyone has done, as far as I know, everyone has done Audible books up to this point has just read the book on Audible. But he's added in a lot of little things, like he put the actual call in, which is really nice. And he does a lot of work explaining all of because this is systems and procedures book. There's a lot of diagrams in the book, as you would imagine. And he does a lot of work on explaining all the diagrams. And I've seen most of these diagrams, so I know what they are, but I still really appreciate that he's put the work into explaining each diagram as you go through. Now, as I said, I've only read the first 3 chapters. But in my opinion, this is the most important thing. If you run a business, if you're currently running a business, if you know someone who's interested in businesses or interested in running businesses, or if you feel that your kids have the kind of business mind, because you want to encourage this from a very young age. I think from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Now, it's difficult. My son was running a drop shipping business and I had to let him use my Stripe and PayPal account because, you know, that he was 15. You can't set up, you won't let you set up Stripe and PayPal. So I had to let him use my accounts. But it's really good to encourage this from a really young age. And let them make the mistakes early. Yeah, everyone's going to make mistakes at some stage. Let them make the mistakes early, learn quickly and move on. And by the time they get to 18, 19, 20, 25, whatever it is, they've already made their mistakes and they're ready to set up some really, really incredible businesses. So it's very good to encourage this from a really young age. And you should encourage it the right way. So I like my son, for example, to read this book, to go through this book, maybe take some notes on it. Because it's really important, even though it might be a bit boring, so it might take a little bit of persuasion. It's not boring, it's a very interesting, good, readable book, but the subject matter of procedures and systems is not the most exciting subject matter, let's be honest. But it's just so important. So what I'm saying is I'm going to give a proper review of the book once I've read the whole thing, and I'm going to give a review on Amazon. But I have very, very high hopes for this. My issue with all the other books in the area, Built to Sell, Michael Gerber's eMyth books, and Sam Carpenter's book as well, was that it just didn't give. It was really good. It sold you on building systems. It showed you on the importance of building systems, but it didn't give the step-by-step processes of building systems. Now, I think my impression is that with this book, with David's book, and also using his software called System Hub, the step-by-step processes are there. I'm only in the 3rd chapter, but I'm already to the part where he's talking about the critical client flow, which is really, really important. It's the initial part of setting up systems. And I really think that this book is going to be different as far as giving this step-by-step of actually setting up the system. So you can set up your critical systems in your business just by reading this book. That is going to be my impression. I'll let you know later on if that's the case or not after reading it, but that is my impression of the book right now. So it's been Alan here, Look for Warriors. We're going to do loads of business courses and also information about business systems. If you're running a business, or if any of your kids have a kind of business type mind, interest in business, subscribe to this channel.